The number one sales hack when it comes to increasing your deals or getting out of a slump is to emotionally detach from the end result of doing deals. See, we get asked all the time, how do I increase my deal flow, or how do I get to my first deal, or if I'm going through a slump, how do I break out of that slump? So me and my son, we were actually watching the NHL on Saturdays. He recently is about 5 years old. He just started playing hockey. So now everything is about hockey. So on Saturdays now, we now watch the NHL. And while we were watching the NHL, there was a player that just came out of a slump. See, all great players in the NHL are going to go through some slumps at some point in time. But it's how they break out of those slumps is going to be, how they're going to be able to be successful. And you're asking me right now, how does this relate to real estate investing? So let me explain. In the interview that I was watching with this particular player, they were asking him, hey, you recently just came out of a slump. What happened during that slump? And he said, well, during that slump, I was actually extremely focused on the end result, which is to score goals. So when he started not scoring goals and games continued to add up over time, he then started just only focusing on those goals. So he was taking ridiculous shots and really not focused on the process. So then the second question from the announcer was, all right, so how did you come out of that? And he said, I started emotionally detaching myself from the end result and started going back to the basics. Back to the basics of making the right passes, focusing on defense, taking the shots when I was supposed to take shots. So when I began working with real estate investors, and I've had some of these same trials and tribulations, we all go through slumps. And we tend to do that when we emotionally attach ourselves to the results instead of focusing on the basics. I got Steve Murnick here with me, one of our High Six associates and one of our coaches. Steve, have you ever found yourself in that position where you're trying to ramp up, you're trying to get more deals, you find yourself in slumps, or
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of things, especially I think it was David Goggins who said it. Some of the baddest human beings in business on the planet are the people who are in love with the process. We can get so lost in focusing on the wrong things. Sometimes we try to be in control of things that we have no control over. All we can do is focus on the things that are going to produce these high payoff activities. It's really difficult if we have the wrong expectations for ourselves. Sometimes we focus on the end goal, the highlight reel, instead of everything you have to put together to then become this end result. So I think that's a huge part of this, Zach. It's really focusing on the tiny actions that we do every single day that make big results, 1% better every day.
Yeah, it's really easy for us to sit here and say this. So when you're out there and you're buying real estate deals and you're really trying to ramp up your business, it sometimes can be hard to see your blind spots when it comes to this, because it's really easy for us as real estate coaches to say, hey, I can clearly identify, especially the students we're working with and we work with on a day-to-day basis, I can clearly identify when you're about to go through a slump or how to get you out of that slump, or even really being able to project how many deals you're going to be able to do in a given period of time based on the current results that you're facing. Because back to that story, the reason why this hockey player was able to get out of that is because his coach pulled him aside and said, hey, we need to get back to the basics, because if we get back to the basics, you're going to see the results that you want. So knowing that, having a coach at any point in time, and the reason why I consistently have at least one, if not up to three, is because I need to see what I can't actually see, because based on my experience, and having those coaches be to show me that blind spot helps me consistently increase the amount of deals I'm doing, or to consistently build the business that we're trying to get to here in the upcoming years. So when we talk about the basics of creative financing, the best place to go to would be to smartrealestatecoach.com/mastersclass. It's about a 50-minute free masterclass. We're going to dive into all the basics of creative financing. That way we can help you get to a point where you're actively doing real estate deals, and that way we can help you forecast where you're going to be able to bring this real estate business.